Volkswagen is an iconic brand in the US and around the world, and a lot of our success has been because of television. You know, TV is still 60% of what we buy because it absolutely is the best place to be able to tell the stories, to connect people with your brand. We know that in the car business, 97% of the people are not out there even shopping for cars. And so we try to use video and television as a way to understand our customer, to put relevant messaging that connects with them, and ultimately when they're in market for the next time to buy that product, they think of us. For an automotive brand, it's every 4.5 years. And really, television's the only place you can do that.
A brand is made not just by the people who buy it, but also by the people who know about it. So, I may not ever buy your product, but knowing about it adds value to that brand. The use of television is fundamental in telling a brand story and engaging with the audience in an intriguing and interesting way, and really making the advertising a part of culture.
The great thing about TV, besides the fact that it's got a great reach, is that it allows you to go around irrational objections to a product. Okay, because most people have some kind of irrational problem with the product, no matter what you're doing. You know, they associate that beer with some girlfriend that they broke up with, or they knew somebody that had one of those cars and he was a jerk. You have to find another emotional road to take people along, so that they don't think about the irrational stuff anymore, and they feel an emotional connection to you again. And you can do that most quickly on TV. I mean, more quickly than with anything.
I think brands are things that become lifestyles. Across the globe, this brand stands for something that people connect with as a representation of who they are. And so as a marketer, it's still about the art, it's still about the work that ultimately connects with people. I think one of our most successful campaigns has just been over the last 6 months, actually. It's our Beetle convertible launch that we did. And the idea here was we were actually launching a convertible in the winter months, which is something you don't do in this business. So we did a television campaign, and it had a lot of resonance on the internet and on television. And what it did was connect with people in the wintertime and really put the Beetle on the map. We saw our sales go from 0 to a pace of 25,000, which is pretty significant here in the US, in a matter of 5 months. And on top of it is bringing people into our brand, and they're also buying our other cars. So if you've got the funding to do an ad, it's still the one place you can get a biggest change of perception and appeal for your brand.
There are two things brands have to do. They have to persuade, and then they have to promote. Digital technology has been brilliant at promotion, but if you're not out there persuading, you're not growing your brand. Now, you can only do that with broadcast because you don't ultimately know where your audience is going to come from. If you keep narrowcasting, your narrowcast is going to get narrower and narrower and narrower, and in the end you won't have an audience. One must always bear this in mind. Advertising expenditure globally is about 500 billion a year. About 200 billion of that goes on television. Now, end of argument. All right?
You know, most of the money that my clients spend is still on TV. You know, I know that it's very popular to think otherwise and go, you know, what's going on out there? There must be new things that we should be spending money on, and we end up spending it on TV, just because it turns out to be the way to start something, the way to keep something going, the way to change people's minds. The Chevy Sonic campaign we did was the most successful new car introduction in history. So we made a whole interesting sort of interconnected TV experience, which went through the roof. It's like 20 million hits. And I think in 1 year, it's gone to be like the third best-selling thing Chevy has. I think it's important to notice that the beginning of that whole Sonic experience was a TV spot. And I don't think it would have kicked off and done what it did without that. I mean, actually, kind of the internet kind of operates as an afterthought of the best TV commercials. People run to the internet to talk about them.
I think this is a revolutionary time to be a marketer. I think this is where it was back in the 50s in terms of change, both in how you can deliver the messaging as well as how you can track the effectiveness of that messaging. The ability to target ROI of a TV ad is going to be stronger in the future than it is today. As television evolves and becomes more targeted, I think you're going to see an influx of dollars back into television because now you're going to have efficiency and you're going to have scale. And that's where I think television is going to really see its second coming.
Well, I think there's a huge amount of data you can now plug into. But in the end, there is nothing more commanding than surprising people. And that's the thing that the creative process is trying to do. It's trying to surprise people, to make them listen, to make them take in your message. All information goes in through the heart. We're emotional creatures, and television is an emotional medium. It's the most powerful selling tool advertisers have ever had at their disposal. And that ain't changing, not for the foreseeable future.